to the Piston Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in Northern Michigan. I want to thank all of you for listening. Please subscribe and like. Pistons did it again. They won another one. They've won 10 of their last 11. They won 24. They're 24-10 since we lost to Utah on December 19th. And somebody on one of the announcers mentioned that they thought that's where the season turned around. And in the last podcast, I mentioned that in my prior podcast, and I really do think that had a factor in turning us around. But we defeated the Utah Jazz, who were playing without John Collins and Lauri Markkanen, and I don't know who else. They didn't have the best team out there. They turned it over a lot. We won 134-106. There's still games you got to win. We're 18-13 on the road, and so we got a bunch more road games coming up. But hey, anyway, I'm going to talk about a couple free agents, Santi Aldama and Naz Reid, that I really would like us to get next year. I got a podcast. I think I'm going to try to do a podcast tomorrow. So I'm leaving town. I'm going Wednesday to watch my granddaughter's district tournament game down in Ann Arbor. And then I'm going to be, after her, whenever she loses her last game in the tournament, then I'm heading to my brother's house in Florida. So I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks. So I'll miss you guys. But I'm going to try to do a podcast tomorrow that's who's got it better than us. Who's got it better than Piston fans? So there was a thing by John Harbaugh. His dad used to say to his kids, "Who's got it better than us?" And they would say, "No one." And that's kind of the theme that I'm going to go through. A bunch of the teams in the NBA that you just can only imagine. If we're in such a great place right now with this team, and we're fortunate. And so, right, the Jazz obviously are tanking, and Danny Ainge's there in the crowd, and I know that they're really looking to try to get a high draft pick. And so, yeah, they didn't put up a lot of resistance. Like I said, they turned it over a lot. And anyway, congratulations, JB Bickerstaff, Coach of the Month. Just recently, Stephen A. Smith said that JB should be Coach of the Year. He said, "I'm shell-shocked at what I've seen from that Detroit team." And yeah, and obviously JB, like he always does, gave the credit to everybody in the organization, to all the players and the assistant coaches and the medical staff and everybody. And it is when I was a coach, I won a bunch of awards. And some years you don't have as good a team, and you do a great job coaching. They overachieve, but your record's not that good. And then other years, I've seen coaches that their team has a good record, and sometimes they're not the greatest coach, but they still win a lot of games, so they get awards, and that's just the nature of coaching. But yeah, so the thing that JB's done so well is our defense. Our defense has been ours, along with the Lakers. The Pistons and Lakers have the two best defenses since January. Interesting, JJ Redick, who's the coach of the Lakers, he said the big thing that they're doing better is they're playing hard. And that is the truth. It's a lot to say about defense, because everybody said the Laker roster did not have any good defenders on it. So that no matter how good the coach was, they were never going to play good defense. People said that about our Pistons. We don't have, other than Asar and Stu, we don't have a bunch of good guys, but our guys are playing tough and hard and physical and aggressive. And obviously Duren's really stepped it up and protecting the rim. But all our guys, Cade's up there fighting over screens. And man, when Holland tonight, he did the most amazing closeout. He was far away from the guy, and he just sprinted so hard and chopped his feet and closed out hard and forced the guy to turn it over. And then we go down on the break, and then Asar passes it to him, and he goes in for a dunk, and then he sprints back down the other direction. He travels more miles per minute, I think, than any player on any team. Holland does. So, but it's fun to watch. And our team is Bill Simmons. Again, I talk about him all the time because I really enjoy his podcast. But again, he's watched the NBA for 40 or 50 years and studied it. And watches tons of games still. He loves to watch games still, and he loves our team. He loves the Pistons, and he said that he loved Holland, and he said here he is. He gets into it every game. It seems like every time I watch, Bill Simmons said Holland's getting into it with somebody, and he's only 19, and so yeah, it's fun to watch. This team has been so much fun to watch, and I mean I'm going to tell you this: the energy and the joy they have playing together, and they're sharing the ball. It seems like every game now they get like 30 assists. But it's I'm going to tell you, when we win championships, it's a struggle sometimes. I mean, I've been there. When the bad boys won those two championships, and when the going to work team won their championship, it's nerve wracking and painful. And then it's just like it's going to be interesting what Lions fans do, because the Lions, it's just been so much fun. They just came, we were so horrible for so long, just like the Pistons, and then they just got so good and won games, and it just got so exciting. And then now it's going to be interesting, because now, the Lions, the last couple of years, they've fallen short. Only one team wins a championship, but now their expectations are so high that I don't know. I got to believe that if we don't do great, they're going to be a disappointment. But there are some just great plays tonight. Cade came down the court and did a behind the back pass to Duran, and Duran tomahawked it, and just reminded me of Hammer Time. That was a big thing back when the Bad Boys were winning. Was MC Hammer was really popular back then. Their second, they had the thing with it. That was their theme, was Hammer Time. And yeah, and then the next year they used Hammer. He came out with his second album that was Can't Touch This, and that was their theme. And then they showed pictures of them with their championship rings and said Can't Touch This. So yeah, it's what he hammered it. And Beasley's 6'4", but he's got hops, man. He can really get up and he can really jam it. And he's not that tall, but he is, most 3-point shooters you don't associate, most of them are not great 3-point shooters. They're like JJ Redick, who can't. I don't know if he dunked it. Steph dunked it just last night, I think. He said it's probably going to be the last dunk. He hasn't dunked it in like 6 years, and he dunked one. So anyway, I'm going to get into more about this game, but I just wanted to talk really quick about Santi Aldama. He plays for the Grizzlies. He's 24 years old. He's 6'11". He's averaged 13 points a game, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 49%, 38% from threes. And that's only on 25 minutes a game. So he is a free agent. So I don't know. I don't know how much it would cost to sign him, but the Pistons can create some space. I know they can. He's only making $4 million a year, and so he's going to get a huge hefty raise, just like Beasley's only making $6 million this year, and so he's, I hope that he takes the mid-level exemption. I hope he wants to play with us bad enough that he would take that. But Aldama is that 6'11" guy that I've been looking for, and of course, he would be the one that would kind of take Tobias's place, and we got Tobias for next year under contract, but I would like him. But the other guy that everybody's going to want is Naz Reid, and a lot of Piston fans want Naz Reid, and I love Naz Reid. He is tough and plays hard, and he has been on fire lately. So he's only 25. He looks older. He's tougher. He's a big, solid guy, but he can really play, and he's averaging 15 points, 6 rebounds, 2.2 assists, shooting 46% and 39% on threes for the year, and only averaging 28 minutes. So he's getting paid $14 million this year. Next year, he has a player option for $15 million, and I'm going to tell you, he's going to get more than $15 million. So, however we can create that, he is the perfect thing for the guy. So again, I'm not looking to trade guys or to move guys and add guys or to add this big star player. We might in a year or two, but you got to keep your mind and your eyes open. And these are guys. So I'm just going to tell you some. I don't go around saying I want every player. Some people, my son-in-law in fantasy always says, because after every year there will be a guy that's doing really good, and I say, "Oh, I told you to get that guy," and I do tell him, "Oh, I told you to get that guy." But in on my podcast, I got receipts on my podcast, my back podcast. I wanted us to get Malik Beasley. He was with the Lakers. He was making next to nothing for the Lakers. He just gambled on himself, but the Lakers could not re-sign him because it cost too much money. And so then the Kings signed him for very, very little. We could have got him, and he would have been a perfect fit. He was young. He shot the three really well. Great athlete, and so we could have got him. You can listen to my past podcasts. You'd have to go through every one. I don't know where it is or how to find it, but I wanted DeAndre Hunter real bad, and he was available for next to nothing. His stock was so low. The Cavs had to pay a lot to get him now, but he is just tearing up the league. He had 32 against the Celtics, I think, and they beat him. And the last 8 games he's plus 67, and but we need that 6'9" wing. He's a really good defender, but obviously we didn't get him. A cheap guy I wanted, Torian Prince. He's only averaging 8 points a game, but he doesn't play hardly any minutes. He's making $2 million a year, but he's shooting 4 rebounds, 2 assists in very limited minutes, 46% and 45% on threes. And so that was a guy that I wanted. He's a solid defender. So there's guys like that. My boy Quentin Grimes, I'm sure you're tired of hearing me say it. I don't see nothing wrong with the little Quentin Grimes. That was my song, and he had 44 for the Sixers. I don't know why people trade him. Some of my, I mentioned that about him in one of my last podcasts, and some people say, "Oh yeah, I heard he didn't want to be with the Pistons." Well, he was with the Mavs. Did they trade him to the Sixers because he didn't want to be with them? Is there something weird about him? Well, I'm just going to tell you, he had 44 points on high efficiency, except he didn't shoot his free throws good. But for the 76ers, he's averaging 17 points a game, shooting 52%, 41% on threes, 1.1 steals per game, and 0.7 blocks for a guard is really good. He's a defensive player. He was, when we had him for a minute, our second best perimeter defender next to Asar. He's tough. He loves to play defense. He's tough, aggressive, and physical, and he can shoot. He played for Dallas, and on the year he's played 52 games and he shot 40% on threes. He did that for the Knicks. He played for us. He played in like 6 games for us. We traded for him, for Bogey and Burks, and he was unhealthy. I was so disappointed when we traded him in the Hardaway trade, but he's 24 years old and he's making $4 million a year, and he's a restricted free agent. So if he did good, we would have his rights to re-sign him. So anyway, I'm just pointing out things. I'm not always right, but I read a lot of times. Shaden Sharp, he's who I wanted instead of Ivy in the draft. I got receipts on it. Again, you can go back and listen to my podcast. I'm not saying it remains to be seen. Ivy, I love Ivy. I think Ivy's been sensational. But Shaden Sharp, the last 4 games, he's averaged 25 a game and 5.7 rebound, 7.3 rebounds, and he's just been shooting really 57%. Or 57% true shooting, which is even better than shooting 57%. So he's been remarkable. But if you saw his dunk, people didn't want him. Oh, you can't draft him because he didn't play in college. He came out of high school a year early. He went to Kentucky. He ended up, for whatever, I can't remember even what reasons were that he didn't play. But he had a dunk, man. He had arguably the dunk of the year, where he took off from so far back and put it down. But yeah, tonight, and Duran's had some of those. Tonight, Duran, again, I talked about, I think, where Cade threw the behind the back pass, and Duran took off from the dotted line and just cocked it way back and hammered it. I saw when Duran was in 8th grade, I saw a video of him throwing a wraparound behind the back pass as an 8th grader, big guy. So I'll never forget that, but. Cade had a good game, 29 points. I'm just going to, again, I hate repeating myself, but I'm going to, again, his 3-point shot is flat, and he's worked on it. His trainers know that he should get it up. John Beeline, when he was with the Pistons, he said, yeah, that's what we're working on. I talked to John, and he said, we're working on him and trying to get his shot up, but he still doesn't. So he started out the year for a long time, shot the 3 really well, but he's inconsistent. You just have a lot less basket to shoot when you're flat. Again, Tobias' shot is flat. Asar needs, I know, even to get his free throws up higher. But you see, you watch all the good shooters, they have arc. And a lot of people would say the shooting coaches that Steph Curry has too much arc. You look at how much arc Beasley, his shot travels like 4 feet higher on his threes than what Cade's does. And hard to argue with his results. So another guy I liked was Najee Marshall, and he's played good for the Mavericks. He's shot 46%, 39% on threes, and he's a tough defender. So yeah, there's guys that that were to be had for cheap prices. So that's what I'm saying. There's not, Naz Reid. I don't know what it will take. I don't know if I'm guessing that might take 25 million a year. So would the Pistons be able to clear that much space? I think there's ways they could do it, and um, I think Santi Aldama, we would be able to get him for even less than that. And you just, to get he's very skilled. Again, 24 years old, 6'11", 13 points a game, only playing 25 minutes. I should have looked up his per 36, but 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 49%, 38% on threes. That's a winning player, and he's a free agent. So we'll see what happens. We had all that space last year, and we didn't exactly use it for any certain players, but I don't think we had the options. There weren't the guys like that we needed to fill those holes. I'm still not sure that Trajan's going to make a big move like that, but anyway, yeah, it's fun to watch our guys, and there's a lot of teams that, again, I'm going to show tomorrow on when I do that, who's got it better than Piston fans. I'm going to try to show a little bit of a video of the guys, and you might have seen the videos of them like dancing together in the tunnel, and they just are so joyful together, and they pull for each other, and it just is really great to see. But another thing I see just game after game, it happened again on lunch tonight. Cade only had 9 assists, but how many times does Cade make a great pass to a guy for a layup or a dunk, and they don't make the shot because they get hammered? And it used to be that he'd always kick out passes to guys for threes. He'd create an open three for a guy, and they would miss it. But especially Beasley's been making it this year, but he just throws so many passes where guys get fouled. So Beasley is on pace to get 328 threes. He shot it bad tonight, but he hurt his percentage a little bit. But only 6 guys have made 328 or more threes and shot 40%. And one of them is James Harden, and the other 4 are Steph Curry. Steph did it 4 times. Harden did it once. And if Beasley can keep up to 40% and get up to that 328 threes, he'll be one of only 6 players to ever do it. So that's really cool. But Hardaway tonight, 31 minutes, 4 for 10, 1 for 6 on threes. And he struggled a lot lately from threes. He was 4 for 4 from the line. He did have 7 rebounds, which is awesome, 3 assists and 2 steals, which is good. 13 points. Asar, 30 minutes, 7 for 7. Didn't he just do that recently? And 3 for 3 from the line. He's not shooting threes. They're getting the ball. He's playing, and he's playing winning basketball. When he gets it, he drives it or gets it to somebody else. And so it's not like he's clogging up things. So, but he had 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 17 points. So that's a stat line. So the thing is not any one of those things just stands out like super. But when you combine all of them together, it's a winning player, and very few guys get 7 for 7, 3 for 3 from the line, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. Again, he's second in the league in blocks and steals since January, only to Dyson Daniels. Duran, another monster game, 30 minutes, 5 for 5, 6 for 8 from the line. So again, he scored 16 points on taking 5 shots, and that can't hurt your team. And 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 blocks. He had 6 blocks last game, 4 blocks tonight, and he had some other blocks that were maybe somebody else on the Pistons fouled, and he blocked it after that. But he's got his hands on some other shots tonight too. So Cade played 30 minutes, and he had 2 low-scoring games lately, so you could tell he was trying to shoot it more. He shot 24 times. He was 12 for 24. That's a good percentage, but he missed some shots right at the rim. But worst of all, he 1 for 8 on threes, and again, it's flat. Sadly, though, he did get 1 shot up. He comes down in transition and pull up 3 off the dribble, and he steps on the line. So He should have been 2 for 9, but he was 1 for 8, and he only got 2 for that. And if he wouldn't have stepped on the line, he would have had 30 points instead of 29. So he scored 29 points, 9 assists, 4 steals, 6 turnovers, and some of those were just careless. And he just let guys just take it away from him. So that wasn't great. But yeah, it was too bad that he stepped on the line. I was happy for Fontecchio. We got him, we signed him. He did play in Utah. I want to say this about Utah. I get disappointed. I look at the Piston fans, the two middle sections on both sides of the Piston court where the expensive seats. At a lot of Piston games, there's nobody there, or they show up really late. It used to tick me off, man. I had a mini season ticket plan at the Silverdome. I got to pick whatever games I wanted. I got to see Dr. J and Philadelphia 76ers with Barkley twice. I got to see the Bulls with Michael Jordan 2 or 3 times. I got to see the Celtics with Bird and McHale and Parrish. I got to pick those 10 games, and I got to see the only game the Lakers were in Detroit, and I got to pick my package. Well, the next year they moved into the Palace, and so my seats were in the end of the court, end zone, upper level, 11th row. And I was a priority because I had mini season ticket plan the year before, but that was the best seats that were available to me. And I would go and watch those games, and so many people, which again, the reason that the games now, even corporations own those seats, or very wealthy people that don't care about the Pistons as much as a lot of us do. And it's their prerogative, but it's just disappointing. But when at the Jazz game tonight, the Jazz are terrible. They have a terrible record. They're tanking. Their stadium was full. From the beginning of the game, those seats in the middle of their arena were all filled up, and so that was disappointing. But I was glad Tech had a good game against his old team. He was 4 for 9, 2 for 5 on threes, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, and 10 points. And yeah, it was cute. They told him, I didn't know this, that he's the only Italian playing in the NBA, and it was cute. George and Greg, they told a story about when the team went out to eat at an Italian restaurant that Fontecchio loved, and they talked about all the food that they ate, and what a great time the team has together at those dinners. And yeah, it's really a special thing that we have. Shorter played. He got hit in the lip, and so he had to sit out quite a bit. But he played 17 minutes, 3 for 8, 1 for 4 on threes. He hit his first one. I was hoping we need him to shoot, above 35% on threes. When we get in the playoffs, and against some of these tough teams, and I know that he's capable of doing it. He certainly did it with the Nets for like over 20 games at the beginning of the year. He had 4 assists and 3 rebounds, so that was good. Holland, though, like I said, he's a Tasmanian Devil or the Roadrunner or whatever you want to call him, but he 18 minutes, 2 for 2, 4 for 6 from the free throw line, 1 rebound, 2 assists, and 8 points. Sasser only played 8 minutes, and he does this. He relaxes more in blowouts, and he did this a lot last year, where he would come in and he only was 2 for 2 and 1 for 1 on threes. But our guy, B-Ball Paul, how does he do it? Has he had a bad game? 17 minutes only. Stu didn't play because his back was hurt. And Paul Reid, 3 for 4, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 6 points in 17 minutes. That is incredible. And if he played more minutes, who knows what he would do. So they told the story. So I don't know what sometimes I share a little bit of the things that they say on the telecast, but it was cute that Greg said this early this morning. He went to the workout place, and there was Paul Reid. He was on the treadmill next to Paul Reid, because Paul Reid keeping himself ready, never knowing when he's going to play. It was cool tonight. Lindy Waters got in the game that we got, in one of those trades at the end of the year. He played for the Warriors, and he played only 5 minutes, but he was 3 for 4 and 2 for 3 on threes. And I saw him have some good games playing for Golden State. But yeah, we got a tough schedule. Again, I'm going to be gone. I'm not going to be doing this. Wednesday, they're playing the Clippers. Then Saturday, they're playing at the Warriors, and the Warriors are really on a roll. The Clippers are doing better, and I there's a strong chance that we're going to see Kawhi Leonard is going to play against us in that game. He didn't play us when they played us at our place. Then the Red Hot Trailblazers on Sunday. So it's going to be challenging. But again, we got these road warriors. But yeah, try to check out. This is not going to be put out until after midnight tonight. But tomorrow during the day, I'm going to put out another telecast about who's got it better than Piston fans. So please try to watch that if you can. Tell a friend and be the reason that somebody feels heard, and go Pistons.